won't stop till killer cops are in cell blocks. Can't stop.
The following newly released video portrays an incident of assault and violence at the hands of police. Viewer discretion is advised.
I suggest you back the fuck up.
No, why are you doing that? Why would you do that? Why would you say that? That's
This is Baltimore City Police Officer Jorge Bernardez Ruiz. In a newly released video shot in 2016, Ruiz is seen with his knee on the back of an unknown man with a gun pointed at the man's head. His message was a clear one. Concerned onlookers, adhere to my dictates or else. Here, we can hear Ruiz saying to Baltimore residents,
I suggest you back the fuck up.
It is documented that Baltimore police officer Jorge Bernardez Ruiz is a repeat violent offender, even without access to all complaints against Ruiz, undisclosed by BPD Internal Affairs records. 6 cases involving Ruiz are known. This video will briefly highlight 6 total cases beginning in July of 2013. Case 1, Abdul Salam, July 1st, 2013. Here Salam is seen victoriously smiling in celebration after the jury found Ruiz and 2 other cops liable for brutality against him. However, because the trial was civil, not criminal, Ruiz was not fired and he did not go to jail.
Police profiled me. They followed me in the back of my house, harassing me. Police proceeded to violently and hostilely approach my van with me and my son in it. As I announced, this was my home, guns drawn. Once they reached my vehicle, they violently pulled me out, ramshacked my vehicle with my 3-year-old son strapped in his car seat, threw me against the gate, slammed me repeatedly. Picked me up by my feet, and while I'm upside down, they proceeded to drop me on my head, hog-tie me, and immediately when I fell on my head, Ruiz, in a wrestling type of action, and kind of hit his knee against my neck. I was arrested. I had no idea what I was being arrested for. My son is scarred to this day. He remembers the incident as it happened yesterday. When he talks about it, he always refers to daddy being on the floor with police yesterday.
Case 2, Darrell Harris, profiled, as seen in this video, July 17th, 2013.
Yeah, Sid, what's wrong with it? Improper way with it. There's no such thing as an improper way.
You gonna tell me my job, bro?
I know the law.
Are you gonna tell me the law?
I know the law.
You gonna tell me the law?
I know the law. What's the problem? You giving me a ticket? You need my license registration? Profile, y'all use the seatbelt as a reason. Profile.
Hold on a second, sir. Do me a favor, take out your keys.
Dad, you can record me. For what? Nah. I don't feel safe right now. Do you want me to step out the car? Do you want me to step out the car? I'll step out the car. Call the police, man. What are you calling supervisor? I'm about to do shit. This is getting uploaded to the internet right now. Yeah?
And we are 2 law-abiding citizens that we are getting targeted, and I don't know why.
Just 24 hours later, Bernardez Ruiz played a leading role in the police killing of unarmed Tyrone West. Case number 3, the murder of Tyrone West, July 18th, 2013.
My brother Tyrone West was brutally murdered on July the 18th, 2013.
In both of these cases, when you look at the pleadings and the harsh language of these officers that have been quoted to me by reliable witnesses, the N-word.
And Killer Ruiz and Killer Chapman and the rest of those 11 to 15 killers, including David Lewis, took something from my family that they could never give us again. And that was my brother Tyrone West, one unarmed man who was brutally murdered, beat to death in broad daylight.
Can't stop.
Mic check, mic check. This is West Wednesday, number 453. We are calling for justice for all victims of police violence. Mic check, mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check. Mic check. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
we can.
ma'am.
Okay, something weird is going on with all my devices, but it's all good because at first I couldn't hear the video at all. It sounded encrypted. But anyway, thank you guys for joining us tonight. And I'm so sorry that we are extremely late. We're having technical difficulties. But again, nothing stops the show. So I'm glad that we're actually able to come through. And tonight, I have our special guest. It's our warrior queen sister Angel, who you have seen many times before. She sings and she does everything. She does a lot of community stuff. And pretty much when I met her, it was interesting. I met her after Freddie Gray was murdered, and we were at a protest, and it was real powerful, and we met and things like that. We've been connected ever since. And she just have an amazing story to tell you. And when I say amazing, I just commend her strength for all the hell that she's going through and living and survive through. To be a survivor is like a beautiful thing when you can survive through all the pain. So she done been through a whole lot, and I'm just honored tonight to have her. And we're just going to dive right in just for time's sake. So I'm going to bring on our sister Angel. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
And I want to apologize in advance because we weren't able to get her up so you guys could see her, but she's going to come through the audio. So, mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you want me to come forth, Tawanda?
Yes. Yep. The floor is all yours, sweetheart.
Oh, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah, thank you, Tawanda, for allowing me to be here. Sorry about all the technical difficulty, but I'm glad I'm on here today to share with you all my story. Can y'all hear me well?
Yes, very well.
Okay. Yeah. I have. I'm so grateful for Tawanda, for allowing this opportunity to come on here to share our experiences with what's actually happening in Baltimore and all around the world when it comes down to police brutality, not only just police brutality, but how people are easily to be framed in Baltimore City. I am a single parent. I am 57 years old. Am I 57? Yes. And I just recently lost my mother on my birthday, February the 7th. I'm a single parent of one son who is 28 years old, never been incarcerated, never had been in any handcuffs except for, during the time back in the day back in 2012, January the 14th, when I actually became a victim of violent crime on Baltimore City, where I got raped, where I felt that I was actually set up. I don't know for sure, but all I know is that what happened to me, it seems like it's a pattern that is continually repeating itself. And actually, my life is a life of, positivity, going out all my life. I've been reaching out to young men, Black men, young boys that are in the street that are like at risk, in criminal activity, gangbangers, you name it. I've always been one that have been trying to be a light in dark places, where people, in obscure places where people have been having challenges with the system. And so when you look at my life, basically, I felt that I was one that was actually targeted. I took in a family years ago, back in like 2000, 2004, that was on the streets, where I had a young man who was like 12 years old. His son was, his brother was 9 years old, because they were on the streets practically raising themselves, but their father was an older man who was actually having challenges. He was an older man that had children at an older age, but nobody was caring for those children. So the father begged me if I could take them into my small apartment. Could I help them? And I reached out to them. I'm just a single parent, but at the same time, I had my own personal challenges. What I did was I did some things to try to keep them out of the streets, mentor them in school, going to school, Edgewood Elementary School. I got awards from the city of Baltimore, working with the city council people, with Sheila Dixon, Mayor Kirk Smoke. Back in the day, they gave me citations for working with these type of children. So I have a positive background. I'm also the only female of 5 brothers that I really never really get to see in my life. But basically, as I grew up over the years, I wanted to share with you all how this system is really detriment to our society today. Everything is about money. Okay, it's like when they put you in to, like say for instance, you need some help. You want to go get a house. You want to get a Section 8. Back in 2004, they stole Reginald Scriber, who was actually in the housing authorities. They took my Section 8 certificate from me because I had to leave Baltimore because I was actually set up by the police on Bonaparte and Bonaparte and Aiken. I was living on Aiken Street, and where there were a lot of murders around there. I never witnessed any murders, but they wanted to try to get me involved in being a witness. I never was a witness of any murders, okay? All I know is I lived there, but, there were shootings and things that happened. And one day a young man asked me, could he sell drugs in the back of my yard? And I told him, no, absolutely not. I've never been involved in any drug activity. I'm not no snitch. I don't get involved with anything like that. But it came to a point where the police actually set me up because the young boys decided that they wanted to put drugs in my porch and try to sell from my yard. And I had to call 911. So they gave my name away to these young men. And as a result, the Lord just led me to pack my bags and leave because I saw my life at jeopardy. Well, when the police showed up at my door, he stood there on my porch and he told me clearly that go ahead on and get packed up. But then somebody yelled across the street and said, kill that BITCH. Right in front of the police. He knew who did it, but the police did nothing about the matter. As a result, when we moved from there, I decided to move out of town. I went to Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Then I ended up going to Oklahoma. In my travels, I was actually, seemed like I was stalked. No matter where I went, I had guns pointed at my face. I had the police putting guns in my face, stopping me on the highway, saying that I made a wrong turn or I did something wrong, which I didn't do it, okay? And whenever I went to court, I was never found guilty on none of that. I actually was locked up wrongfully at David L. Moss detention center for about 21 days. One time they locked me up for 7 days for no apparent reason. They just blackballed me. I didn't understand what was going on. Actually, it sent trauma to me. It broke me down. And as a result, to this day, I suffered with post-traumatic stress, a very severe case of that anything that traumatizes me, it breaks me down. But, with the help of God, God has helped me and helped me to become strong. As a result, they actually took my kids from me. They found a way to trick them to run away from home. My children ain't never get abused. There was nothing going on wrong. I just was the type of parent that I'm not going to allow you to bring guns in my house. You're not going to be joining a gang and bringing drama to my home. So I was one of those type of parents that was always watching and keeping an eye on my children and doing what was right as a parent. Never did anything wrong to my children. All they did was they had brought me to the courts, put me before a judge. The judge was yelling at me, screaming at me, asking me, who are these children to you? He yelled at me. And I said, they are my children. He said, they're not your children. This is how the judge yelled at me. And then I said, what did I do wrong? I said, sir, all I did was take care of my family. He said, they're not your children. And he said, if you say it again, I'm going to charge you with contempt of court. I said, well, what am I supposed to say, sir? And next thing I know, they had, even before I came into court, they had my picture at the front desk and told the people that were at the front desk, the guards at the front desk, when you come into the courthouse, they said that if you come into the front, if you come in, I couldn't bring in none of my bags. I had to park my car. I couldn't bring in nothing in the courthouse. And I was like, what's going on? I was so distraught. I never knew what happened. Next thing I know, I got in the court. They were asking me, did I file taxes? I said, sir, I don't even know how to file taxes. I said, what did I do wrong? You know, and next thing I know, they were taking my children from me. Okay, they were kids that I took, got legal custody of in Baltimore. I went down to the courthouse so I can get them enrolled in school. It went from there. After that, I just lost trust in everything. So I ended up, they kept forcing me out of my homes, no matter where I was living. They had my Social Security. They had everything concerning me. No matter where I lived, they counted me like a fugitive. And I was like, what in the world is going on? Everywhere I was living, I said, did I commit any crime? I said, is it anything that I've been doing? Nothing. So as a result, I ended up coming back to Baltimore, and I ended up moving on Greenspring Avenue at Foxwell Memorial Apartments, 3700 Greenspring Avenue, where someone in my apartment asked me, did I want to buy a car? I bought this car for $300. It was a Crown Victoria. I bought the car. And as a result, during that time, they had wrongfully suspended my license up in Oklahoma. I'm questioning, why is my license suspended? Why? I had a car the whole time I was up there. No matter where I moved at, they found a way to get my car from me. They took my house. They kept causing me to have to become unstable. It was one thing after another. They actually blackballed me. And these judges were actually like Ku Klux Klan skinheads. These people, they were racist. And I said, Lord, why am I going through this? So when I came back home, I'm thinking I have peace, and I moved in. The house that I was in was an in-house Section 8. So it goes according to your income. So at that time, I wasn't making that kind of money. So, I was able to receive disability from the post-traumatic stress and all the things that I went through. So I went in and I got this house. This apartment. I moved in there. I wasn't having any problems. And all of a sudden, someone sold me a car for $300. I bought the car. I'm thinking I'm getting ready to get a nice car and blah, blah, blah. I turned around. I parked my car because I found out that my license was suspended. I took my car and I parked my car across the street, asked the neighbor, could I pay her $50 a month to hold on to my car? This lady takes my car. And, they let me, park it on that parking lot because, you can't park your car on a street without tags. So I said, let me straighten out this matter about my license. So I said it there. It was December the 14th, 2011. Okay. January the 14th, 2012 was the day that I got raped. It was the same day of one of my sons that they took from me, the same day of his birthday. So I was putting two and two together. I said, that's the ones that they came after me in the courts. They came after me for. So they lied on me. They said that I hit my son with a tire iron in his chest. I said, my son ain't never get beatings. I said, what is y'all talking about? I said, prove that I did that. I never did no such thing in my life. They just put lies on me to blackball me. So what happened is that I took and I went to get my car one day because I asked my son to go with me, and it was January the 13th because we had to go to court that day. It was for rent court because they were playing with they were playing with my rent. They was raising my rent and everything. So I ended up leaving the house to go to court that day. And the people that I asked to hold my car that I was paying for, they were breaking into my car. They had my hood up. I said, is that my car? So me and my son saw it. And I couldn't handle the matter that day because I had to go to court. So I ended up coming back that evening, and I had someone who was waiting on with a tow truck. That day was the day that I got raped. Okay, that night when that guy jumped in my car and raped me. Okay, I don't want to discuss the rape issue right now, but I'm going to say this: when that guy jumped in my car and raped me, he was going to kill me. He told me to take my car up on Green Spring, right where those wooded areas are, and park the car. And he wanted to show me how bad he wanted to be with me. I didn't want to be with this guy. I didn't even know him. Okay, all I knew is that he was some kin or some affiliation with the people who was holding my car, and that was it. All I know is that he yelled at them, told them to get the F in the house, and he jumped in my car because my car was Jimmy-like. I'm sitting in my car just trying my best to get myself together, get all my things together. He jumps in my car, and I asked him to get out of my car. He wanted to pay me for them breaking in my car because he didn't want me to move my car from the parking lot. So anyway, make a long story short, I ended up getting raped that night because the guy forced me to take my car up the street. He would not let me get out the car. He grabbed me. He did everything he could possibly do. He intimidated me, showed me a picture with a gun, told me all kinds of things that he was going to do to me, put his hands on me, aggressively grabbed me in the car. He climbed over me and did what he did. Only thing I could do was take the car. That night where he raped me, I was able to just drive that car up on the parking lot of where I was living. He asked me, "Why did you drive the car up here?" I said, "Because I had to lie and say I had food on the stove and I had my son upstairs. You want to come in with me? I got to run upstairs to get my son." So this guy climbed over me, and that's when he raped me right on the parking lot that night. And I could not scream. I could not yell. All I knew is that this guy has some affiliations with the police department. From what I noticed, when his girlfriend told me that no matter what I do, this guy would get off. He'll go to jail and sit for 5 years or 4 years, and he'll kill you. He'll come out and kill you. So to make a long story short, I've been always looking over my shoulder ever since my rape case. Ever since when they took the rape kit down at Mercy Hospital, it was 100% sure that he had raped me. He even confessed to his probation officer that he raped me, and he was sorry for what he had done. Okay, so everything came out. They gave him the alpha plea. They gave him 18 years, all suspended for 5. He did less than 2 years, okay? And then he came out and he stalked me again. I took him back to court. That's when they put me under the victim witness program. When I got raped, they left me in that same apartment right across the street from his family, which is wrong, which they were supposed to relocate me to a different area. This guy decided that he would come back out, stalk me downtown on Saratoga in Utah, because he was working for a tax agency, walked right up on me with a mask on, asked me what kind of oils was I selling. When I took him back to court, I went down there and I addressed this issue with Marilyn Mosby's office. I addressed this issue with Miss Bledsoe. I addressed this issue with Miss my detective who was handling my case. All of these people were working for Marilyn Mosby, even the police department. But my son is the one that noticed that this guy had a mask on, and it was him. Okay, the guy's name is Darian Clark. That's his name. Okay, he was supposed to register for. He was supposed to register as a rape. He's a tier 3, and that means that he's registering for a lifetime. He did 4 years. He did 18 years. It was supposed to be 18 years, all suspended but 5. He did less than 2, and then he turned around and he did 2 years, less than 2 years. But when he came out and he stalked me, the girl told me, his girlfriend told me, "I don't care what you do, he's going to come out. And you've got to be watchful. It's going to kill you." She came downtown to give me that message. I recorded what she said. Okay. So what I did is I went back to the state's attorney. That's when they put me on. The victim witness program for 40 days. They sent me out to Cecil County at the Days Inn Hotel. I got the paper right here. It was the actual letter. They told me 40 days. I told them I was really scared of living out there. So I couldn't go nowhere. They would not take me nowhere to relocate me into housing or a better place to live or protecting me. So what they did was they left me there for 40 days. They took me to Social Security for my evaluation. Then after I went to Social Security, the psychologist asked me, she asked me, so you're actually living like a fugitive. Okay, I had my son in on the meeting that I had to go for, and the lady, I explained to her what I was going through, and then she told me, so pretty much you're like a fugitive. I said, I don't know what that means. What do that mean as a fugitive? Because I haven't committed no crime. I said, what did I do wrong? So anyway, I ended up getting a place to live. They put me in this program. I had sent an email to Catherine Pugh. During that time, I asked her if they could help me with housing because we were homeless. We were in Oklahoma. I mean, we moved from Cecil County to Oklahoma. I asked Marilyn Mosby's office if they can transfer me out of town. I prefer to move out of town to get away from Baltimore. When I went up there, they put me in the Days Inn hotel up there. Next thing I know, I told them, I said, do not leave me hanging like this because I need to find out if I can get Section 8 there because I knew some church people there. Next thing I knew, they said, well, we won't do that. We'll make sure that you get yourself situated in blah, blah, blah. Next thing I know, I get this letter, and the letter is right here before me, where I get this letter from Marilyn Mosby's office stating that they were no longer, it says, as you are aware, the office of the state's attorney for Baltimore City has offered and provided various forms of witness assistance to help you, witness assistance to you as a result of you being a victim of crime in state versus Darian Clark, and they gave the case number. Then it says a summary of the assistance received and provide as you follow. And then they said on October the 10th on 2012, they gave me amount of $200 made out to Foxwell Memorial Apartments for my rent. Okay, then they gave all these estimates of everything that they purchased, you know, the things that they did. But this money, when I calculated all this money, and they also told the people at the hotel, do not give me any documentation on anything of how much they're paying for the hotel. When I added up the monies of how much they paid for me in a hotel and what was in this letter that they sent me, the amounts, the figures did not add up. So when I added it up, I said, she's lying. They did not spend this amount of money, okay, on me. And so when I added up how much they did in the hotel, what they did was the amount that they added in the hotel, what they paid and what they said that they paid in this letter was two different figures. So I asked them about it. Ever since I asked Marilyn Mosby's office about it, about what they were doing with the money for my victim witness program that I was under, and why is it that they haven't put me in housing yet? Why can't they pay for me a house to move somewhere else and blah, blah, blah? They refused to do it. They just gave me the runaround, act like they was trying to help me, pretended like they put out money. Okay, they paid for this, but they were getting other fundings towards my victim witness. And then they left me hanging, and then they sent me this letter and told me that they are no longer addressing my issue, and I would have to find somewhere else to go, and without no help. So they left me and my son on the streets up in Oklahoma. So I ended up being homeless. We ended up going into shelters. We ended up spending all of this money in hotels. Every dime that we had, we was exhausting our funds. And it was one thing after another. We even lived with some of the church people that we knew. We just couldn't stay just anywhere. So I ended up coming back to Baltimore, being forced to come back to Baltimore. I ended up sending a message to Catherine Pugh in an email. 3 times I'd sent an email to her. I even sent the picture of the person who raped me. Catherine Pugh, instead of her helping me with the homeless unit, Catherine Pugh turned around and came out and took a picture with the same guy who raped me. And then they posted it on Facebook like it was a joke. I I couldn't believe it. Then when this guy came out, he was sitting on top of a black car with all of this money and said Guerrilla Life, BITCH. Okay, and posted it on Facebook, making mockery. And then he turned around, and that's when he came back and he stalked me. And I ended up going back to the courts. Judge Timothy Dory was the one that had the case. He resigned now. That's just what they do. They'll do their dirt, get the money from all of us as victims and all of us as people that are going through crisis, and they'll make money off of our vulnerable situation. And then what they'll do, they'll take our victim witness, our victim situation, our circumstance, and they'll use it to their advantage to get money, to launder money. And then they'll turn around and then they'll set you up and have you killed. Right now, I'm living in a house right now. They are presently, I got this house where I'm at right now under the mayor's office through the housing unit that don't even exist anymore. They put me here, and ever since I've been here, they have taken and they've stolen money from me. They put me in a house that's rat infestation. I got rats out my backyard. I got the pictures and everything where rats are biting into my wall of my house. When I moved in this house, there was a hole in the house. Looks like it's a brand new house, but when you come in here, it's mice infestation. I can't even lay on my couch without mice going up in my chair, crawling all over my chair, running across the kitchen floor at night when I'm sitting here. I never slept in my bedroom. Even somebody was coming in and out of my house. When we first moved here, for the first 2 weeks that we were living here, somebody kept opening my door at night when we were sleeping. And we would wake up in the morning and see our door sitting wide open, down the basement or upstairs in the front. And I said, Micah, did you leave the door open? I asked my son, did you leave the door open? He said, no, Ma, I never left the door open. So I'm very adamant, and I know that I locked my door. So every night I would make sure all my windows and my door was locked. So whoever had a key to this house, they locked the door. Okay, they would unlock my door and come in at night while I'm asleep. So I started sleeping downstairs in the living room. To this day, I sleep in my living room. Okay, I make sure that my doors are locked. I make sure that there's a chair or something up at my door. This is how I've been sleeping for 3 years in my house. I've had constant problems with the neighbors. I had one lady that lived next door to me who she worked for parole and probation. I found out that my paralegal that handled my housing issue, that when I lost my apartment at Foxwell Memorial, she lives directly across the street from me. I said, how did that come about? Why they send me, have me to move in this house across the street from the same paralegal name is Deanna Watkins, okay? She lives directly across the street from me. Her son is an ex-felon, okay? Have spent 15 years in prison. Don't know if he's a gangbanger or whatever. I don't know what's the deal. Then I had problems with another lady across the alley from me, they go and they buy houses, they flip houses and all this stuff. All this is a big thing going on in Baltimore, all over the world. They take people who are vulnerable adults or have a vulnerable situation to extort money, okay? And then they had several times they had the police come to my house. They try to make you look crazy. And Tawanda knows what I'm talking about. They'll come knocking at your door. They'll start doing little scare tactics to try to, like you could be riding down the street in your car. They'll have somebody literally cut you off, ride up on you, literally crash your car. They actually cut my struts to my car. And if I didn't have a prayer life and didn't know, the voice of God, and didn't know that God would lead me to take my car to the mechanic shop, you would see that my car, the mechanic told me clearly, he said, somebody cut your struts. Because with a BMW, you do not have, the struts don't come loose this easy. He said, no, this was cut. Look at this. And he showed me the picture. And I was driving around on my car with my struts cut. And I didn't even know it, but I kept hearing some noise, and something told me, take the car to the mechanic shop. When they put my car up on the lifter, my wheels folded. So someone that I know that is a friend of mine helped me to get all of my whole entire car fixed. I bought that car from the girl across the street. She turned on me, and all of them was in this whole thing. I got that same car for $300. So I said, am I being set up? Am I being framed? I don't understand what's going on. But while I'm in this house, now they are taking, I sent Tawanda a document, Tawanda. The document that I just sent her earlier has an address on it that I've never lived on in this address. On this document, it states that it's a breach of lease. Okay, I never breached my lease. They wanted me to pay for the water and they wanted me to pay for the gas electric. Then what they did was that they networked with the gas electric company and the water company, and they raised my bill so high that I cannot afford to pay it. My water bill is about $2,700 and something dollars. My gas electric bill is about $1,000 and something dollars right now. I refuse to touch it. I refuse to pay it, Tawanda. Y'all hear what I'm saying? I refuse to touch any of it because when they signed me up for this program through the mayor's office, they put me under this Women's Housing Coalition program. They actually went over the lease with me with this new landlord. They actually put their name down as the landlord, as a tenant. But the whole time they are receiving government money for my house, which is illegal. This is what Miss Deanna Watkins told me as a paralegal. She said, that's illegal. They can't do that. So since I told them about it, I said, y'all can't be doing this. They fraudulently put their name on my lease. When they handed me my lease back after they went over my lease and I signed the lease, they went in the back and said, I'm going to get copies of this. Then they brought the lease back out to me. Okay. And they said, here you go. It was in the folder, but they was distracting me with talking to me about the house. So I didn't read over my lease again. So when I got home, and then a couple weeks later, I began to have some problems here at my home. And I started having water sewage backing up in my basement. And from washing my clothes, all of a sudden, I looked at my lease and I began to see things in my lease. And I called the landlord about it. And she started going through and feisty with me. And so I started looking at my lease. And when I found out that they had their name down as the tenant on my lease, I said, they don't live here. Why are they the tenant on my lease? Okay, now they took me to court. I'm almost finished. They took me at court. They got me in court right now for tenant holding over. First of all, I never even saw a judge about my rent. They pay all of my rent, $1,200. Don't know whatever is going on. But what they done, they took my name, put it on another address somewhere else up on Ricestown Road, another house. I went there the other night and I asked the guy, who in this house has my name on this house? He said, oh, we're just buying this house. I said, what you mean? Why is my name on your house? And then he looked like a crackhead. I said, really? I said, oh, and so when I try to get some legal help and I try to go to different people to get help, even if I go to legal aid, anytime I went to legal aid for some legal help to help me with any circumstance of myself, they will always try to find a way to say, well, we don't do this. Well, we can't help you in this. Well, they would find a way to avoid of helping me. And then they would try to traumatize me more to make me look like that I'm crazy. The whole time they're using me to try to incriminate me or to set me up. Now they're trying to move me on Cecil Avenue in a house that looks worse than the house that I'm in. The windows, all you can do is pry the windows open. Even the back porch of the house don't even have any steps to it. And if a fire break out, I would have to jump off the balcony, risking me or my son's life to hurt ourselves and harm myself. And then now they are trying to force me out of my home right now. And this is why I need help. And so I don't mind telling what's going on, because if anything happened to me, now they want me to move around the house, around the neighborhood, right around the corner from the internal affairs. And they're the very people that I reported to. And then I had problems with certain police officers coming at me on the street trying to target me. But because I'm a woman of character, I won't fight back with the police. I won't argue with them. but I will address it in a reasonable manner. So just to say all of this, I'm going to turn this back over to Tawanda. I just wanted you all to know that I feel like I'm being framed. And I didn't tell you all everything concerning what's happening. This is not even half of the story of the things that I've been going through. All I know is that they are taking and they are finding ways to gain money off of people's vulnerable situation. They are trying their best to kill people, set them up, use them for their own means, their pocket money, put you in houses, women that are losing houses. I'm not the only one. That's why the homeless rate is going up. Why is Brandon Scott not getting these homeless people into legitimate houses? Even when I call Section 8, they say Section 8 and the public housing is closed now. It's not going to be open. Why is people that are low income, people that don't have funds, why aren't they having where they can have a decent house to live in? Isn't it under the Constitution that we have a right to a peaceable and enjoyment and habitable place to live? Why do I have to live in a house that is rat infestation and mice infestation? Why do I have to keep having trauma after trauma? Why is it that the city and the state, they done got all of this money? And when I went to Marilyn Mosby to address this issue, she banned me from coming downtown at her office. All I was doing was standing in the lobby waiting for my meeting from her assistant. At that time, they were going to court about, when Marilyn Mosby and her assistant was having a problem, and they had Fox 45, they were actually investigating her back then. But when I came back down there, they was pulling my picture out of the fax machine, showing my face, and saying, and had their security told me I cannot come back down there. I said, what did I do wrong? I said, I was supposed to come down here to address my issue. Well, your case is closed. I said, is that all y'all can offer me? I said, this how you treat a rape victim? And next thing I know, and then they started lying on me, saying I'll threaten them. I said, I ain't never threatened nobody. All I did was come down here to get some help. And y'all left me hanging, and you stole my victim witness money, and you know it. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, Tawanda. I just wanted to share that part of my story and let y'all know that right now they are coming at my house. They're damaging my property. I sent you a picture of how they pulled the cement, Tawanda, off of the porch, where they took and pried something like a metal into my cement of my porch and jigged all of the cement off of my front porch and everything, y'all. I don't understand what's going on, but you know what? It is what it is. I'm not moving in that house, and I need some help with this matter.
Wow. Again, Queen, I'm so sorry, but I felt obligated and compelled to bring you on because a lot of people don't understand when you have victims that are already traumatized. People take it sort of like a joke until it happens to them. You know what I'm just saying? And the fact that you have all this stuff in Marilyn Mosby's office, and for them to turn their backs and do absolutely nothing. Like, I'm just so sorry that you are going through this, and whatever we can do to help you will help you shortly. I want to turn it over to our brother Marcellus just to check in to see if we have any questions or comments, because I see the board a little bit lit up on my end, so I want to check in real quick, do a mic check, and then I'll come back and I will show you guys the picture of her property being vandalized. Like, literally, I have the picture that she sent me, and I meant to send it to our brother Ben, but we was going through so many technical difficulties, I didn't have time. But I'm going to turn it over to our brother Marcellus. Mic check.
Mic check. So on Facebook, Hillary says mic check. Glad to see you online. AC Britt says mic check. Angela says mic check, and Nelson says mic check. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check. All right, so I'm going to show you guys, and I'm going to want y'all to zoom in. Oh wait, hold on. Which one? Okay, y'all see that? Can everybody see that?
Yes.
This is her.
Yep.
So
Yes.
I'm showing the picture that you sent me, sister. Can you tell everybody what they're looking at right now. Angel, tell everybody what they're looking at right now, because I'm showing them the picture of your steps.
Okay, this is actually, I've been living here for 3 years, and this is the first time that my porch, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, this is the first time that my porch has ever been looking like this. It's not from no snow or nothing. Somebody literally took and jigged something in, and they do it at nighttime, just like they tampered with my car. They scratched my car up. There was times that I had flat tires on my car, but this is actually where I live. And they actually took something and jigged the cement out because they know that they can't get me out of my house without a legitimate court order. And I'm really sort of like intimidated by this matter, because this company that I'm a part of, my case manager came over here under the Women's Housing Coalition. She came here, and when I tried to talk to her, I'm always having to yell over her voice to put her in her place and tell her, listen, no, you can't tell me what I know, and then what I don't know, or what I do know. I know what's going on. My house, I keep my house up and keep it very clean. She knows that about me. But see, they waited until I moved in here, Tawanda, to get comfortable. You understand? Moved all of my furniture in this house and hooked my house up. And then all of a sudden, they start sending people like the lady that lives next door to me. She works for parole and probation. This lady is one of my, like, an enemy to me. I don't know you. I don't want you near my house. When I first moved here, nobody knocks on my door to come and, come over to my house. And then all of a sudden, they're getting in touch with the same people who got me in this house. They even told me when I moved here, Miss Deanna Watkins, across the street, the paralegal, she even told me, her son them said that there was a crazy lady used to live in this house before, and 2 people died. This is the kind of stuff that they was telling me when I first moved here. 2 people died in this house. Something to scare me, like scare tactics. So if you do something wrong, we know how to handle you, okay? Then they got the girl on the other corner to try to pick fights with me. I refuse to fight anybody. They did all kinds of things. I'm a peacemaker, Tawanda. And ever since I've been here, they tried to do everything that they could possibly do to break me down. And because of me being a woman of character, I refuse to be afraid. So when I came in one day and I saw my porch like that, Tawanda, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Oh, when I came in, I thought you were saying something. When I came in to my house, and then that last night, that porch was not like that. The next day when I went out to Wanda, somebody took and tore my porch up like that. Do you hear what I'm saying? And my son is my witness. Then I said, who in the world? And I said, no, they want me to act out. I walked over it as if it didn't even exist, Tawanda. All I did was try my best I put my godmother on the phone. I said, look, I put her on a video. I said, I want you to see this. In fact, even at night, I have to have somebody that when I sleep, I make sure I have somebody on live, on my video call, to keep it open just in case they hear me screaming or something happening in my home. Call 911 or call somebody ASAP. But sometimes it's so scary because why you can't, it's like if you call 911 for help, it's almost like you're calling the same people that's trying to do you harm, that is connected. It's like this whole thing is a big gang thing. Like everybody, the police, the judges, all of them work together. Tawanda, I just lost my mother on February 7th for my mother's birthday, right? I go down there and get some help to just get her name changed. The judge yelling at me, the magistrate yelling at me, Tawanda. And I'm so discouraged because I'm just coming. I can't even really grieve you know, over the fact that my mom just passed away. Then I'm addressing them trying to ask me questions about my equity, my mother's equity, and all of this other stuff. And the judge literally took me into court and swore me in on a case that I didn't even ask to be sworn in on. And then they literally yelled at me. They forced me out of the court that day that I went down there. Twan, I don't know. It's almost like, y'all excuse me for stuttering and kind of like skipping over information, because sometimes I don't stay on task with what I'm saying. That's a part of my disability, okay? But I'm also dealing with the fact that I deal with so much trauma. By the time they traumatize you and by the time you come forth with all of the things that's been done to you, you'll sound like there's somebody that's crazy. Mm-hmm. You understand? They'll make you look like that you're mentally ill. They'll make you look like that you don't know what you're talking about. And then by the time that's so that they can harness your voice so that you won't be able to tell your story or to get the right help or to get the right people to listen to what you're going through. That picture right there is a primary example of what they do to intimidate you. That's what they're doing. With my car, when they did my stress like that, that's what they do to Wanda.
Well, I love
I know what they've done to you before.
Yeah, so
I know how they came to your house before, Tawanda. I know how they cut when you was riding down the street and stuff they did to you during the time of when they murdered your brother. Absolutely. Trying to intimidate your voice. And that's why I stand with you.
Mm-hmm. And I stand with you, my queen. And again, we praying and we definitely keeping eyes on you. And again, I apologize for all the trauma that you're going through. And I'm going to do a mic check real quick and check in one last time with our brother Marcellus to see if we have any additional comments or questions on Facebook or YouTube or any of our social networks that we're on now. And then we're going to quickly, because of the time frame, it's 8 o'clock and I respect everybody's time, we're going to quickly move into our homicide list as well as our police brutality list. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Nelson says the city is cruel and corrupt. Mic check.
Mic check. And
Mic check.
Nelson's definitely on point. And I'm saying good evening to everybody. And you guys, you see how real it is. So we're going to keep our sister Angela in prayer. And this is sad. And the reason why I definitely brought her in here to let her talk to you guys while she's here, because it is real. The retaliation is real when you go up against this dirty, corrupt system. It's real. And like she said, they'll make you seem like you're the one that's crazy, when in fact the system is crazy. It's a capitalist system that don't give a damn about anyone. And it's just sad. And though we fight for police brutality victims, we fight for everybody. You know, it's just our heart as a collective group that's just dealing with society and knowing that all these things fall under the... We posed a question to Marilyn Mosey. When are you going to do something? That question, we demand answers. You know, my brother Tyrone West didn't deserve to be murdered. I sat down, I gave you new evidence, and you're sitting there turning your back on me and my family. And it's not just my family. You disrespect Nicole's family who was on here. You disrespect Timothy Fleming's family. You know, my sister Angela, they're still waiting on the autopsy report. And it's going on to a whole year since Timothy Fleming was executed in his home. And those children are still in that house. This is what they do to victims. This is what they do to survivors. This is what they do to family members. This is so not right. And if you guys don't see it, don't wait to become a victim yourself before you say, oh my God, what's going on? How did this happen? You know, and it's unfortunately that, and I never thought I was better than anyone or anything, but I didn't know all the evil that was in this system until it snatched my brother. Until, as heinous as my brother murder was, it was terrible, but the corruption, the cover-up was far worse than my brother being kicked, pepper sprayed, tortured in broad daylight with witnesses, video cameras out, phone cameras, all type of stuff. And to this day, going on 9 years, we have never been able to retrieve anything. We can't even get respected enough for Marilyn Mosey. I don't give a damn about her finance. I don't give a damn about what's going on in her life. I care about what's happening, and it's been going on 9 years. 9 years of agony that my family is suffering through. I'm losing family members. You know, they can't even see accountability, and they were out on the front line. We wasn't just a family that just popped up now or popped up. We didn't ask no victim asked us to sign up for this. Angel didn't ask, you know, to be raped, traumatized, victimized. And how dare you put somebody in, you know, a Section 8 public housing or whatever you want to call it, and they don't even have enough money to afford the rent. That's why they're getting this assistance. But you want to give them a water bill of over $2,000 and a BG&E. You're setting this woman up for failure. And this is what they're doing. This is how the system plays us. So again, it's sad, it's disgusting, but we must ask ourselves as human beings, what is our next move? What is our next step? Because we cannot keep on bending over and allowing the system to just do whatever they want to do to us. It's not right. Do not wait until you are the one. Do not wait until you're like my sister Queen Nicole, who lost not only her father-in-law, but she lost her daughter. Her baby girl, a 16-year-old girl, 2 weeks later, her baby. Do not wait until it happens to you. Do not wait until it happens to you. And like I always say, the time is now to do something. Because if we sit by and do nothing, we come complicit into all this, we come complacent, then we're a part of the problem because we're just accepting this foolishness. And I don't care whatever they throw at me, if they want to play with me on my job front or wherever, bring it on, because I'm a fight. I'm going to always fight, and I'm going to fight for what's right. I'm going to stand up, step out in faith, you know, and trust. And I believe in God. Me as a Christian woman, I'm not forcing my religion on anyone. As for me, that's my belief. For me as a Christian woman, I let God direct my path. Literally this weekend, prayerfully, like I was at, you know, an event for my baby girl. You know, but the whole time riding on this highway, I kept feeling sick. I kept feeling all these bad feelings. Like I felt like, oh my God, like what is going on? My spirit was not right. I'm telling y'all, my spirit was not right. My girls, they were laughing. And what are you talking about? I'm like, I feel like some Final Destination stuff. And everybody, oh man, don't say that. I'm like, no, God forbid. And I said, let's pull over, let's pray. We started saying a prayer and all of that, and just moving in a time when God says, okay, even if we're not ready to go, let's go now. Let's head out now. Sometimes, even if you're having the most fun time, if you feel something in the pit of your stomach and say, look, pick up and go, pick up and go. That's all I'm trying to tell you. And literally for me to see that accident that happened on the highway in Pennsylvania where 50 cars, y'all, was involved in the accident. And from my understanding, it was 3 fatalities, and that was horrible. And I'm like, oh my God. So now all the foolishness that I go through, no matter on what front, I'm just grateful. I'm not complaining no more. I'm just grateful because we don't know what, like, God protects us from the dangers, even though we think, oh my God, you know, we're living in such bad times, and we are, you know, but at the end of the day, God is still faithful. God is still more than able to bring us through that next level. So I just urge everybody, the time is now for us to do something. We can no longer sit by and see our sisters and brothers and babies suffer. And again, I urge everybody to please join Darnell Rochester's family this Saturday. The family of Darnell Rochester will be at City Hall. I believe the time is at 3:00 p.m. on this Saturday coming up. Please go and show your face. I'm going to try to do my best with my daughter cheering and all this flip-flopping, and she got my schedule. But I'm going to try to see what I can do. And if I can't make it down there, definitely the West Wesley family, somebody from our coalition, our family, because we're more than a coalition. We are family. Somebody from the family will be down there representing and standing. We don't just tell people, oh, we're there for them and not mean it. We are really there for them. You know, nobody's paying us. This is coming from the bottom of my heart. And when I talked to my sister and she tried to reach out to me yesterday, I'm like, oh my God. And I know that she's traumatized. So I'm like, oh my God, I have to do the right thing and let my sister's voice be heard. You know, these are the times that we have to document everything that's going on, and more than document it, we have to do something about it. We have to show the world that we are more than this. And then the crazy part, as soon as somebody snaps or do something wild or obnoxious, then everybody want to judge and everybody want to talk about it. Everybody's talking about the Oscars now with the Will Smith situation. But guess what? You're not Will Smith, and guess what? You're not Chris Rock. So instead of us trying to sit back and judge and play sides, and you never know what you'll do if you're in any one of those shoes. So don't ask to be in nobody's shoes. If you never walked in their shoes, you don't know what they're going through mentally. And I'm not excusing anything, because anybody can get violent. We can all do stupidity. You get what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you never know what you may do trying to protect your family or think that you're doing something right. And it could be dead wrong, but just because in your gut you feel like it's right, who are we to judge people? Let's just right now come to a point where as though we support each other, where as though people are not having mental breakdowns. It's not a laughing matter when the joke's on you. It's all funny games until you're the one being teased, till you're the one on the flip side. It's all good when you're on the office side and you're able to take your pen and write people up and do all type of stuff. It's all cute and fine. But then when the tables and the roles flip and somebody's doing that dirt to you, then you sat there and you're like, oh my God, why is this happening? Karma. So please treat people the way you want to be treated. Live to love, love to live. I love you all. So I'm just going to stop for time's sake, and I'm going to bring on I don't know if Brian's in queue right now, but I'm going to see who has our sad list for the night. Mic check.
Mic check.
So Uncle Bill, do Brian have the list, or do you have the list for the night?
Well, I think Brian has it. I have the one about police victims.
Okay. So you said Brian has the
I believe so. I can't see him on the screen, so I don't know for sure, but I believe so.
Okay, so what we'll do until Brian comes in, we'll let you read the police brutality victims. But before we get started, again, I want to just say, if you pray for this 1 minute that we're going to take, please say a prayer or just go into deep thought. If you're not a prayer, if you're not a religious person, that's okay too. Just keep the people and just know that they are people. Don't let the media downplay the victims and make it feel like they deserve to have what they got happen to them. It's not right. At the end of the day, no one, whether it's by police officers, whether it's by community violence, no one, and I always said this, no one deserves to be brutally murdered. I don't care, like I said, if it's from community violence or from a brutal, hostile cop. No one deserves that type of treatment. Because at the end of the day, when anyone loved one is murdered, that is not an act of God. That is a violent act, and that is something. And I don't care if you're religious or not, but that is something that changes your life forever. Forever. Your yesterday is no longer your yesterday. Your tomorrow is no longer your tomorrow. You are literally transforming to a whole nother world without your loved one. Just imagine the person that you sleep with, or that you greet, or that you love and you hold dear and near to your heart. Just imagine, guys. Just imagine if they're like, hey, I'm going to run to the store. You're like, okay, babe, bring me back a candy bar or whatever. And that's the last time you see them again. And then you get the hideous news that they were murdered. You ain't trying to hear nothing. All you want is accountability, straight up. You're not trying to hear anything. Straight up, all you want is accountability. Accountability. So at the end of the day, please say a prayer. Let's just take 1 minute, guys. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Thank you. So I'm gonna. I see Brian in queue. So before I bring our brother Brian on, who has the horrible job of reading that sad list again, real quick, I just wanna, cause I'm just feeling right now. I'm feeling our brother Darnell, a baby that was actually executed for no reason. A traffic stop should not result into a young man, a woman, a child, whoever, being executed in such a horrible fashion. And the way They left this baby there to die. Literally, a hospital was 3 minutes away. The same instance with Tyrone West when he was killed on Kentmore and Causeway by Northeast Police District killers. It's the same way killers from Northeast District killed this baby, and a hospital that's literally 3 minutes away, it took them a whole entire half hour. The same exact thing they did to my brother. They made sure that that baby was not going to survive, the same way they made sure Tyrone West was completely dead. He didn't die at Good Sam. He was dead on Kentmore and Causeway. The same as if this baby sat out there and completely died in a way. And the part that pisses me off is the fact, the way that the police, the killers that are murdering us, have the audacity to act like they want to give somebody CPR or they care. You didn't give a damn. You're putting on an act because people are watching you. You don't want what you just did for somebody in that audience that are seeing you take someone's life to do that to you. So now you're trying to play this. Oh, let's get them help. Oh, and any other time, and think about it. They put Sean Suter in the car, drove him, which to me was a setup, a part of the setup, because the same vehicle that drove him delayed even more because it got in a car wreck, all this foolishness. Hollywood couldn't make this stuff up. I'm just saying, y'all, enough is enough. But for you to murder a poor baby, please, y'all, and this is Darnell's mother. This is her only child. Could you imagine something like that? Could you imagine that call? Could you imagine that call? Please, guys, I need y'all to show up, turn up, and not just only just go out there, but literally whatever kind of help his family needs at this time, aunties, cousins, loved ones, please be there to support, because I know how it feels. I'm still living a nightmare that I never signed up for. So I'm going to turn it over to our brother Brian. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check. Y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Had to go out and come back. So my job is to try to lift up the names of the people who died by homicide here in Baltimore. This is between March 13th and March 19th. There are 6, beginning with Raheem Sims, 26.
Raheem Sims. 26.
John Holt, 53.
John Holt, 53.
Akinlana Weathers, 20.
Akinlana Weathers.
What?
20.
James Neal, 34.
James Neal.
34.
Dominic Kennedy, 33.
Dominic Kennedy, 33.
Frank Lee Pulliam, Frank Lee Pulliam, 31.
Frank Lee Pulliam, 31.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Brian. And again, this is a list nobody ever asked for. My heart goes completely out. Next following is our Uncle Bill with the police brutality list. Mic check.
Mic check. Last week, you may recall, if you were watching West Wednesday, we announced the names of 47 people whose lives were stolen by the police. Since that time, the source of our information is the Washington Post. They've only released the names of people killed by police around the country for the next 2 days. So I'll be reading 3 names this evening. I'm very pleased it's not a long list, but it only covers 2 days. We ended last week uplifting the name of Charles Henry Calhoun. Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't know his name. He was listed as unidentified at that time. He was killed by police on March the 23rd, and he's 68 years old. But tonight we know his name, so I'd like to uplift that name, even though we mentioned the case last week. So if we could uplift the name, please, of Charles Henry Calhoun.
Charles
Charles
Henry Calhoun.
Killed also on March the 23rd. This was in Commerce, Georgia. It's a man, but he was not yet identified. Ashe.
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 And on the following day, March the 24th, in Broward County, Florida, 23 years old, Zyshawn Johnson.
Zyshawn
Johnson.
Zyshawn Johnson.
Oh, sorry. Zyshawn.
And I'd like to just mention one thing about Angel's situation. I remember Angel asked me to come with her 2 years ago when she was having a meeting trying to get new housing. And it really angers me that in all that time, all they've offered was this rat hole on Cecil Street with no staircase to the back door and a death trap. And this system is horrible. And I'm really upset about the way you're being treated, Angel.
Thank you
Mike
so
check.
much. Mike check. Thank you so much. And I just want to thank our sister, Angel, and let you know that we love you. We're here. And it's just a lot. And like since this, even as she does this interview, she said she just got a call from a private block number. So it's just,
somebody called me just now. But when I got off the line, somebody called me private, Tawanda. Nobody has this number to my phone. Do y'all hear me? Y'all are the only people, you and Bill are the only one, and my godmother and, my church people, but they called me private. Nobody calls me private on my phone, and it just happened.
Okay. Yeah, so again, keep our sister Queen in prayers. And again, I'm just praying for everybody. I'm praying for all those names read. And we know, and it's just interesting that when Uncle Bill comes on and he reads a list that's over 40-something names, it's always the case that following week, they'll try to slow it up and they'll just throw out a few names or whatever. And then it'll, it's just sad. But even if it was the names that he read last week, which was a whole lot of names, and then the 3, that added up to 50 bodies, 50 too many. And even with the names that our brother Brian read, with 6 homicide victims that we know of, and it's still up there, and it's just horrible. Enough is enough, guys. When you know better, we got to do better.
So, Wanda, you mind if I add something?
Sure.
I forgot to say that as we were beginning the program, before we were streaming this evening, freedom fighter Ben brought to my attention an article, and the article says that so far this year, it's not even 3 full months yet, but so far this year, the police in the United States have killed 249 people. That's just through January, February, and March up through the 24th. So I'm sorry I neglected to say that earlier.
Thank you for adding that. That's real. Like literally. And you think about all the stuff that's happening in the world with, wars breaking out. We literally at war right here. And not just in Baltimore. Unfortunately, it's a worldwide thing. But when you know better, we got to do better. Let's just keep everybody in prayer. So again, I want to thank our sister Angela. I want to thank the West Coalition. I want to thank our viewers for watching. And if you're on YouTube, all we ask you guys to do, and it's just sad because I noticed that I see friends that have like great podcast shows, but everything is hot besides police brutality and besides talking about community violence. Everything else gets, oh my God, almost 700, 800 likes and shares and subscribers. It's just sad. So, but I'm just urging you guys, and I'm not throwing shade at anybody, but at the end of the day, you don't want to be on this other side. This needs to be pretty much shared with everybody. And all we ask you to do on YouTube is hit the like button, subscribe, and share. That's it. And if you're watching on Facebook, so far I've seen like 4 or 5 people shared it. We need everybody to share. I got 5,000 friends. You don't have to be more to share this. Everybody needs to see this because guess what? It could easily be you. If I wish that back in 2013, I would have saw somebody sharing something and showing me how wicked and evil the system is. I never saw this. I knew about it, but actually seeing it and hearing real live victims is, you know, what else more can I say? We're not asking you guys for anything but just to share it. We're also asking you guys to keep my sister Angela in prayers, keep her and watch, because we're watching, and I'm just letting everybody know we have our sister back. And again, Marilyn Mosley, you need to do something right now. The time is now. We're not going to wait. And it's sad again. I know how it felt to wait 154 days for my brother's autopsy report. We're going on a whole year waiting on Timothy Fleming's autopsy report. This is beyond devastating. Enough is enough. The time is now. So remember, live to love, love to live. I love you all. Cell blocks for killer cops. And the way
That's
we
right.
brought you this video, yes, cell blocks for killer cops. The way we brought you this video was we pretty much showed you the first killer, Ruiz, even though it was 17 killers that murdered my brother, and few of them watched, like at least 15 sat up there and participated, and two of them watched pretty much. But if you're standing there and you're watching someone get beat to death and you're not doing nothing, guess what? My brother's blood is on your hands as well.
That's
My
right.
brother's blood is on Marilyn Mosley's hands as well,
That's
because
right.
you refuse to give my family an answer. And I just want to let you guys know, next West Wednesday, catch us live, because we're going to be out in the street. They might block my camera, whatever. We're going to be down at City Hall, and the question still remains, Marilyn Mosley, we demand answers. We demand answers. So whether you ignore us or whatever, we're going to still keep on turning up. Election time is on a rouse, and we're not going to just put anybody into office, and they're not going to do anything. And then it's unfortunately that even with the people that are being placed in office, they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything. I'm just going to be real. They're not doing nothing. They're not doing nothing but collecting a paycheck, winning off of our pain. That is disgusting. But remember, live to love, love to live. Sorry we went over time, but hey, just keep on watching the video. Please, I know we show it every week, but I want y'all to watch it to the end, because guess what? This could be your loved one. This could be your family going through the pain and ordeals that my family suffered by, and that we're still suffering by. We survived through it, but we're still suffering at the same damn time. Please just watch this video. And it's sad that I see one of my uncles and my cousin Tavon Anderson, who's no longer here, that he was in the back, because he always liked to be in the back. He never was one to be wanting to be seen up front, but he was even there at Dwight Pettit's office and that's a part of the clip that you're going to watch. But my uncle Clifton Anderson is no longer here, nor is my cousin Tavon Anderson, and my grandmother. And we're coming up on a year of my grandmother no longer being here. The eldest person in my whole entire family, that all she wanted to see was for her first grandbaby. Her first grandbaby, she wanted accountability. Disgusting. This system disgusts me. So live to love to live. Love you all. We will see you guys at City Hall next week. Mic check. 6:30.
Mic check.
Mic check.
And Mr. West begging for his life, and Mr. Salam begging for his child to be excluded and comforted from what was taking place. Not for himself, but for his 3-year-old child.
Case number 4, Adina Britt and family, September 10th, 2015.
My name is Adina Britt, and I wanted to submit a 30-second testimonial that Jorge Omar Bernardez Ruiz is one of the 11 terrorists that came into my house performing a home invasion in September 2015, terrorizing my entire family and even holding my 12-year-old son at gunpoint. He needs to be stopped.
Case number 5, unidentified arrestee, assaulted in 2016.
I suggest you back the fuck up. No, why you want to talk to me? Why would you say that? That's just
Again, this video did not surface until the summer of 2020. Case 6, Thomas McCullough, May 2016 and February 2017.
I heard my front door coming off the hinges, like it exploded.
Thomas McCullough says it happened twice. In May 2016 and February 2017, Baltimore City Police burst through his green front door and raided his Pimlico home.
They said, police. They come up, shotguns, guns.
He says officers ransacked the place, looking for drugs, money, and weapons. He took pictures of the damage he says they left behind.
Tell us where the drugs are, the scales, the guns, and the large amounts of money.
Nothing was found. Now he's suing police, claiming officers, including a former member of the Gun Trace Task Force, frightened him, his wife, and father-in-law when the officers conducted what his suit calls an illegal search of his home. The owner of the house tells 11 News after the second raid, he had to replace the front door. McCullough and his attorney say they want Baltimore police held accountable.
There is a colossal breach of trust.
And McCullough tells us following both raids, no one was arrested or charged.
This all begs the question, when will Baltimore City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby see the prosecution of Bernardez Ruiz as warranted?
They were the stopping officers in these so-called jump-out cars, unmarked and so forth, that stopped both the West vehicle and the Salam vehicle without probable cause. And these officers are the ones that also were joined by others, but they are the ones who initiated the stops, pulled both men out of the vehicles, and commenced the vicious activity that was thrust upon them.
And the Officer Ruiz that started this attack is still working and working with promotions. He is now sergeant. But the fact that this repeat violent offender had a history leading up to my brother. There was Darrell Harris, there was James Green, Joseph Green, Abdul Salam, and my sister Dina and her family. No one family deserves to be brutally murdered or brutalized by this repeat violent offender Ruiz. It is time we take action. The time is now.
Baltimore police officer Jorge Bernardez Ruiz is a repeat violent offender. Based on these accounts, in accordance with the law, we, the West Coalition, call for him to be fired, prosecuted, and incarcerated.
We're more than hashtags and body bags. We're more than being 6 feet in the dirt and pictures and buttons on t-shirts. Our lives matter.
For the safety of our city, the prevention of further harm, and the justice for these families, we see no other option.
And again, I'll say, the time is now.